So this is the part of the show where we go to the heart of the political debate, where all sides are fair game. Rick Santorum opened up a double-digit lead over Mitt Romney in the latest Gallup poll, but you know something? That might be good news, but there's other news out there that might not be so good. Not for him, anyway. Check this out. USA Today and Gallup have this poll showing that 55% of people just aren't satisfied with any of them, the four candidates. None. So they can't all be Rick Perry or Herman Cain supporters. Now, can they? So just exactly who do people want if they don't like the four they got? Joining me now, CNN contributor and Democratic strategist Maria Cardona, as well as Republican strategist Ana Navarro. We are going to have some fun, ladies. Are you ready? Since those four aren't doing the trick, it seems, for a lot of Americans, or at least GOP voters anyway, I have lined up a flip chart for us all to take a look-see at with some of the other superheroes that could swoop in. Sarah Palin, as well as New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. I wish I had like a drum, a drum beat or something. Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels, much talked about, and also former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. All of them glossy, lovely, wonderful. People are begging for these people to enter the race. But I'm going to start with you, Anna. They have warts too. The grass is not always greener. So what's everybody freaking out over?
Well, it's worse than they have warts. They don't want to do it. I ran into Jeb Bush just a couple of days ago, and he thinks all this talk is crazy. He's not open to it at all, so we just have to stop being wishful thinkers and get on to what we have on our plate.
So you got a chance to speak with him, not only him, but also Marco Rubio, right? But I hear the way politicians answer those questions, and I'm sure you are astute in the way you ask the question, but did they say something cagey like, at this time, it's not my intention, or were they really definitive?
No, listen, Jeb Bush is a great guy. He's a serious guy. He doesn't play games. It's not like he's scheming in his office and counting up delegates and figuring out how he's going to jump on stage and run away with the trophy while the other four are bickering amongst each other. He's just not open to that. It's not in the cards for him.
So you got the straight dope. All right, so jump in, Maria, because this constant nattering sound of brokered convention keeps coming up, and I'm sort of curious as to just exactly what that would solve in all of this, because I don't see any of these four, or anybody else for that matter, swooping in and saying, vote for me.
Well, I don't know. The last time Sarah Palin jumped in and opined about this, she kind of left quite a big opening in case there was this sort of talk when we got to the convention and people were not satisfied with the candidates. Look, this is a real possibility now. A month ago, it might have been, at least for Democrats, wishful thinking, but more and more we are seeing exactly what the poll shows, which is there is absolutely no enthusiasm for any of the GOP candidates, and frankly, it's because they're not talking to the people they need to be talking to. You have Rick Santorum yesterday comparing the Obama administration with Hitler, for God's sake. His positions on women, oh my God. And Mitt Romney, who's the supposedly electable one.
You are good at your job, but he backed off on that. So let's get Hitler out of this show. This is not Fox News Channel. Stop already. Let me move to the money,
His
okay?
words, not mine.
Yeah, but he did. He really he tamped it down and mitigated what he said about that. But let's move to money, because there's been a whole lot of shaking going on when it comes to the piggy banks. Mitt Romney was leading the way in January, raising money for his campaign, $6.5 million coming in. Newt Gingrich behind him at $5.6 million. Both Santorum and Ron Paul were tied at $4.5 million apiece, and this is just the campaigns, folks, and you all know this year particularly super PACs are the big story. It doesn't count the super PAC money, and we can tell you this, Rick Santorum has picked himself up another $1 million man out there, big money giver. So I thought with all this mojo that Rick Santorum would be pulling in a lot more money, but it still looks like Mitt Romney is out in the lead. Anna, is that going to change any?
Well, that was the picture for January, and it was, I think, an accurate snapshot in time for January. But, you know, January was just 3 weeks ago, and it seems like it was a century ago. Back in January, Gingrich had the mojo for the first 2 weeks. Romney had it for the last 2 weeks. He left Florida, the conquering hero, and now look where we are. So a lot has changed since January. I think the numbers you just read are an accurate reflection of what happened in January.
But is that going to change? I mean, yes, January was a century ago in politics, especially on this roller coaster. But I tend to think maybe the money takes a little time to catch up. Maria, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Ashley. But what was interesting to me about the numbers is that, you know, and Anna's correct that last month or in January, Romney was still seen as the conquering hero, especially coming out of Florida. But he didn't really outpace the other Republican contenders by all that much. They are sort of equal, which tells me that his money is starting to diminish. Now, we haven't taken into consideration the super PACs, though. Clearly, the super PAC money here is what is going to make the difference. And what we're seeing, the kind of money that Mitt Romney's super PAC is spending in Michigan, he's going to try to do to Santorum exactly what he did in Florida, which is just eviscerate him and carpet bomb him until the only outcome possible is for him to come out the winner. We'll see if it works, because Santorum really is, I think, surging, because clearly none of the other candidates are speaking to the issues that are so important to conservatives right now.
I'll tell you what it speaks to me and says.
That Romney
go ahead,
has a
real
problem,
quick.
which is a lot of his money comes from traditional donors, comes from the large Republican donors. And you tap out those donors sooner or later. Whereas you've got folks like Santorum, even Ron Paul, who do money bombs through email and raise millions of dollars through email. Romney seems not to have been able to tap into that base for money donations yet.
Yeah, there's the big why, the big yet. And not only that, we haven't even touched on the Sheldon Adelsons of the world. I tell you, I want my own super PAC, and I want to meet the Adelsons someday. That's all I'm saying. This is what this says to me.
I want to be adopted by the Adelsons.
You get behind me in line, my friend. Ana Navarro and Maria Cardona, it's good to talk to you both.
You guys can
Thanks so
compete
much.
for that.
Talk to you soon.